Here we go. So number one, that's a translation. What's another word for a translation?
Translations.
Another word. A slide or a glide, right? It just slid the zebra to a new spot. It didn't turn it. It didn't flip it. It's just a slide, okay? Number two, a glide reflection. So if you slide this down and then reflect over that line, that's what you would get, right? So that's a glide reflection. Number three, if you draw a line right here, sorry, I'm connected. It doesn't like that. That's just a reflection, okay? All right, so you plot these points. Guys, there's a lot of points for the graphing problems because it's like, I would love to give you points just to show me you can graph a triangle. So if you don't graph the first one, I have to take silly points off that you should get. Graph the first triangle, okay? So you graph this and you graph this. What line is y equals 1? If it's y equals a number, it is horizontal. Okay, if it's x equals a number, it's vertical. Not to be confused with the y-axis, which is vertical, and the x-axis, which is horizontal. Okay, so make sure you are clear on all of those. Those are probably the things that get confused the most. So I plotted my first triangle, that's the pink one. And then I flipped it over this line, which is y equals 1. So if you look, my A was 2 above the line, so I went 2 below the line. My B was 1, 2, 3, 4 above, so I went 1, 2, 3, 4 below. And C was 2 below, so I went 2 above. Okay? Flip 1 point at a time, and you will be just fine. Questions on that? All right, this one, name the rule for the translation. First of all, on the quiz, I told everyone it was a translation, and some of you answered the question with translation. I told you it was a translation. That's not giving me an answer to my question. So make sure you're reading the directions. When it says write the rule for the translation, that's saying a translation of what? Well, to get from A to A prime, or to get from B to B prime, or C to C prime. It doesn't matter which. Please don't go from C to A prime. A lot of people try to do that too. A to A prime is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the left. That's a -6. And 1, 2, 3, 4 down. That's a -4. The most common answer that I get on this is that. What's wrong with that? It is flipped. This has to be your x value. That has to be your y value. This is wrong. Okay? Don't go up and down first. I feel like the reason people do it is because you're thinking slope, right? Slope is rise and run. We're not thinking slope here. We're thinking points. Points are x and then y. Okay? So the best answer looks like this, but honestly, if you give me this part of it, I'm good. All right. Number 6. So you are given these points. That was my blue triangle. And then it's a reflection after a translation. Which one do you do first?
You do the translation.
The translation first. Okay, so I went from blue to pink, right? 2 to the right, 1 down, 2 to the right, 1 down, 2 to the right, 1 down. So my pink one then has to be reflected over x equals -1. What kind of line is x equals -1? Vertical, right? X equals -1 is this line. So to reflect the pink over that gets you my purple. So y was 1 to the right. I went 1 to the left. So that's y prime. This one was 1 to the left. So I went 1 to the right. That's x prime. And then z is 1, 2. So go 1, 2, and you get z prime. Questions on that? Hi.
I have a baseball game, and so I was told to
Bring you have a shadow. Yes. Welcome. Come on in. We have lots of shadows right now. Hang out. Good luck to you. You're welcome. Good luck. Okay, this one. Guys, this one gets done wrong a lot. A lot. Don't do it wrong. Here it is. Okay, I want to know, is it an enlargement or a reduction? And then once you figure that piece of it out, what is the scale factor? Okay?
Hi, Tony.
Hey. Why such a manly goodbye? Okay.
He didn't say that. He was
What? Wow, what a day, guys. Okay. So here's the deal. Your original figure, which we call what? The pre-image is that one, okay? Your image, what it becomes, is not blue, is this one, right? What is this, enlargement or reduction? Enlargement. You went from the smaller, you got bigger, right? So that's an enlargement, which is what we have here. Your scale factor, here's where it gets done wrong, because people tell me that, and then they tell me a scale factor that doesn't make sense for an enlargement. Here's what you're doing. Your scale factor is always your image over your pre-image. What is the length of the image? 30. 12 and 18, right? So 30 is your image. What's your pre-image? 12. And then you reduce it. Both of those are divisible by 6. So 5 to 2, which makes sense for an enlargement because that's a number greater than 1, right? 5 over 2 is 2.5. That makes sense. It grew by 2.5 times, okay? All right, last few here. A rule for this transformation. So notice what it says. It says maps ABC onto DEF, which means, well, tell me what you did.
It's a glide reflection.
And where did you move?
So you move it to the left. No, you move it to the right 4 and down 3. 4. What?
It would be down 2 if
Down
you're going to
2.
do it that way. And then what?
And then to the right 8. The right 4 and down 2.
You're saying this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's what you're doing?
Yeah, and then you flip it.
Over what?
Over 2.
X equals 2. Okay, so you could do a reflection over X equals 2 after a translation of 4, negative 2. I didn't do that, but you could.
But was it right?
That would be correct. Callie, what'd you do?
Would it work to do a translation of 0, negative 2? So you just go down 2 and then reflect that over x equals 2.
Yes. That's closer to what I did. I said the y-axis, but you can also say x equals 0 and then just slide down 2 units. So both of those are correct. I don't care which one you do. It is not correct to do what some of you were trying to say, which is move this one up, right? Because it asks you to map ABC onto DEF. So pay attention to that, okay? All right, number 9. So this one's a dilation. If your scale factor for your dilation is 1/2, what are you doing with that 1/2? You're multiplying, right? So you're multiplying every number by a half, right? So this 4, negative 2 becomes 2, negative 1 right here. 6, 4 becomes 3, 2. And then 2, 2 becomes 1, 1, and you end up with this triangle. Notice it's half the size, right? It shrunk down. That's a reduction. And last one. Does yours look like this?
Yeah.
So it was slide first, 2, negative 3. So my blue was my first. My red was my second. Slide 2 to the right, 3 down, 2 to the right, 3 down, 2 to the right, 3 down. And then it says to reflect over the y-axis, which is this one. So I took my red points and I flipped. 1 to the left becomes 1 to the right. 1 to the right becomes 1 to the left. And on the line stays on the line. Okay, so that purple triangle is my image. Any questions on that? That's your test, guys. There's 10 questions on your test, and oh look,
Wait, there's only 10?
10 questions on this.
I got all of them.
I got all right.
Great, 100%.
We actually did a review.
Yeah, you should do the review. You don't think I like you? What? Of course I like
Every
you.
5 minutes, you're like, do your math.
What?
Because you talk a lot. I do talk a lot. I know.
If you do the whole thing right? No. You get extra credit if you don't turn in any assignments for the chapter late. If everything's done completely and on time, you get 2 points of extra credit.
Someone said your other video that they get 100 on the reviews and they
That's where I put my extra credit points for the chapter. Because I don't want it to show up on the test, because I want to know what you actually got on the test. So I put it on the review.
34 minutes?
Yeah.
Meeting class?